This is your WW3 news. Let's go back to the nitty gritty doom and gloom of our current contemporary society, world, whatever it is. Well, you probably heard from Prepper News, Canadian Prepper, AK Nate, which does the doom and gloom of World War III, basically. And it's been confirmed there was a document leaked, 28 point, turned this arky-balarky thing in Ukraine between the Ukrainians and the Russians. You know, it's a NATO proxy war which is against Russia, and we are said something about a decapitation attack on Russia, because slowly they're taking out their capacity to be self-sufficient as energy, like their petrol refineries and stuff like that, and all the most important logistic infrastructures where they've got the civilian military. That's why they have military people deployed to defend these things, like in Poland. Even after this so-called thing which I mentioned in the other video, Ukraine's blown up a railway track in Poland where the trains pass for the military stuff from one end of the country to another, or when it goes all full-blown, all the stuff will be pulled. Poland and Romania, that will be the a real front of the war. How it's going to come, who knows? No one's got a crystal ball looking to the future, but we want to bring on something. And plus, all the various European unions countries are preparing contingency plans how to deal with injuries from the war. Why want to do that in peacetime? That means, you know, sooner or later you're going to have to go to war. You'll be going to war. Emergency powers, drafting people, rations, walk on, all 9 yard stuff. It's going to be like, it's going to be about Second World War on steroids, basically. But this will go nuke. It will go nukey, nukey. So, going back to this 24 point proposal plan, it's basically to get NATO boots on the ground in Western Ukraine, which the Russians, I think, are not daft, especially Putin. Putin's a little bit pissed off, a little bit, you know, under tension, but probably he will have to take a very unpopular choice, which he's been dreading for all these 3 years, to actually go in, because, you know, NATO is preparing something, and as soon as they get boots on the ground in Kiev, Western Ukraine, they'll consider Ukraine, the western part, as a part of the alliance, NATO alliance, arky shit. And that's why it's a bit of a Trojan horse. They can use Article 5 in this situation, but, you know, and the peace plan says they can't join NATO, they can't join the European Union. They must be demilitarized down certain territories which the Russians have conquered military. It will be recognised, and probably the Ukrainians will ask them, well, we want something back. He goes, you won't have nothing back. You got a losing hand. You're losing the war. The Russians are gaining bit by bit every day down in that part of the neck of the woods, in the war scene. Also there's Venezuela and stuff like that. And there's a chap, it's called Greg, he's an Italian YouTube blogger, pretty wise chap. He does pretty good videos about cars, and especially about our society, and how it mainly talk about Italy and what shitty state it's finding itself in, which I do agree with him. And he goes about on 2026. This could be the year those occult elites will create a global crisis which never ever in recorded memory or in history has touched our society in such a way with devastating. Could be a pandemic, could be a war, an economical collapse, but all the omens show pointing into this direction. So the fact is, most people will perish because they've got the foggiest idea until probably the last moment to pull the thing and get out of their butt and go, oh, what the fuck is going on here? You know, it's like in that video which I said, 90% if occurs some catastrophic event, 90% of people will be dead. First they will die of panic and chaos, illnesses, lack of food, victims of murder or any type of crimes. Will be a lawless land. It's a bit like living in Orwell 1984. There was this great war and people still fighting afterwards. These so-called dystopian societies here and there. That's what's basically Agenda 2030 is all about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it and you'll be amazed, because knowing this, it will be a great advantage over others when things like the shit, when the shit will hit the fan. It's a question of time in what manner the shit will hit the fan, because it's all organised by the occults and what they call Nazonis. Those people count. The politicians, Trump and all these people, they're just puppets. Like I said in the other video, people have got their hands up and they're manoeuvring like that, you know.